Hi, everyone. We're here with another week of exciting rehearsals. This week, we're talking college band. Also, we'll find out what made Ashlee say,
out of the womb. You come out, and they're like, okay, here's your little baby baton.
and why Trevor said,
So what made Trevor say, my hips don't lie?
all this and more. So get back out on the field, and we'll see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
Eight off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything from marching arts. Everyone, bring it in. It's time for Water Break.
Welcome to another episode of Season 2 On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Nicole Younger. There have been lots of things that have been happening in the high school band world with VOA regionals and state championships happening all over the country. But one other thing that's going on is college band and its homecomings. With us this week, we have a great panel to discuss what college band is like and more specifically what comes with homecoming and things like alumni marching band. Let's see what you have on the sidelines this week. Ashlee, hey girl.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. So hopefully you'll be here for the full rehearsal this time. Yeah?
I better be. I'm so tired of this not working, my Wi-Fi and my computer.
We're not tech people. It's totally fine. We do have a tech person.
Somehow I'm the backup IT person at work. Not sure how I came to be that, but
maybe you just don't have a lot of tech at work.
I don't know. I'm actually not that bad everywhere else. It's just right here. I don't know.
Oh, goodness. Everybody out there, Trevor? Trevor, I haven't seen you in a while, man. How's it going?
Oh, man, as my grandmother tells me all the time, it's been a month of Sundays since I've been here. But I am so excited to be back here on the water break, especially when I found out they were talking about college bands. Are you kidding me? I could not miss out on the opportunity. We're going to talk about homecomings later on.
Yeah. So tell me what's been going on in your college band life.
Oh, my gosh. It is nonstop. I'm having the time of my life here at the new job here at Northwestern State University in beautiful Natchitoches, Louisiana. There's way too much seafood here. I'm back home, and I forgot how much seafood exists in Louisiana, but it is great times. We are doing things like hosting. We have a marching band contest event featuring 22 local high schools that are coming up next Saturday. Yesterday, we actually wrapped up our homecoming week activities, so I'll have a lot to talk about there. And then also we're getting ready to do preparations for our Christmas parade. So the fun never stops in college marching band. I'm sure all these things I'm talking about and we'll discuss further are going to be very familiar to my college band director friends. So it's great to be here.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, it's good to see you back, and it's good to host a show with you. I haven't seen you in a while. And then the infamous, oh my goodness, we are not worthy. Jeremy, how are you doing? All today, just doing the broadcast. And you're just thinking, we're going to talk about this later. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm just going to listen to it later. How you doing?
I'm good. I did just do homecoming yesterday with Westchester University's marching band. See, I am the incomparable alumni band here. There was like crazy. It was the 55th anniversary of Colorguard, Westchester University. So we had a big Colorguard. I mean, they already have a big Colorguard, but I don't even know. There was like 40 or 50 of us, I think, in the alumni side of it. Like just
there were 55.
55.
There were 55 alumni and 46 like marching members.
Yes. I will say there were a couple of members of the alumni band that didn't actually make it to the performance part because of tailgating got a little too involved. But we also had two bonus people who were on the field who were not spinning, but inside of their mommy's bellies. So that was also sort of interesting. Yeah. That was really, really, really nice. I mean, we had somebody from every decade since the 60s. And like, that was super cool. We came in on Friday, learned, the show, the pregame show that we had to learn. And then performed it on Saturday. Like, it was great. And I kind of went into it trying to just be a member, like just do that part of it and not really like, try and produce it or try it, say we should do this and we should do that. I was like, I'm just going to be a member and enjoy that ride. So that's what I did. And it was a great, great, great time. If you don't do college band, which everybody now we're going to talk about, you should. If you did college band, go back and do homecoming, especially on like a big year, like an anniversary, like, all the drum corps do it and stuff like that. Like, I'm in it now, and I told them we're coming back for the 60th anniversary. That's going to be big, big to do. And so that's the goal of the next 5 years, is to grow the alumni Colorguard band at Westchester into something just massive. And it can very easily happen. So I'm excited to like talk about it too.
It was really cool to watch. Yeah, but we'll get into that too a little later. So awesome. Well, you know what? Now that I've talked to you about what's going on, we're going to talk about what's going on in the news. All right. So I think this is Trevor. Yeah, you've got the first one. Tell us what's going on.
Yeah, so we had Mr. Jonathan Lang recently write an article and really just ask a very important probing question in regards to high school band and in regards to show design and what is, allowed, or what should we allow our students to do. It said, and then the title of the article is called, "Did Any Adults Question Kelly Walsh's Bloody Marching Band Routine?" Kelly Walsh High School is located in Casper, Wyoming. It's been that school has been a prominent school for the marching arts in the state of Wyoming for decades. Just really great tradition of high school marching bands there in that state. Great support among the community. The director is well known and well respected in the region and in his own personal school. And we just wanted to talk about the show they decided to perform. It's a show based on more satanic worshiping, uplifting of spirits, kind of the performers simulating death rising from above. And there was Colorguard with, fake blood on their face and the spirits are rising. It was a very dramatic showing. And we want to talk about, was that an appropriate thing for the director, for the staff to allow the students to do? Does anyone have any strong opinions initially about these type of shows, just generally speaking?
I think we all have very strong opinions. I mean, if you really want to be honest, and I know Trevor's like setting us up for this conversation because obviously he knows we have really strong opinions. There's a group chat of these Hot Water Break hosts, and that chat will go off when we see shows like this. And I put out on social media at one time on TikTok, I asked this question about these types of shows. And I kind of got a lot of pushback, but I also think the pushback that I was getting was from younger instructors and performers. And the younger instructors and performers seem to think that it's a good idea. And my statement about these types of shows is always, isn't there something else that we could be doing with the high school students? Like, Vox Atrium did Bloody Mary, Independent World, and there was blood everywhere. And that was insane. And that was amazing. And that's what's inspirational, right? But that doesn't mean that world-class color guard should translate into a high school marching band in any type of way. Like, it's just like, you can't, like, you're not going to take a Broadway theater production of, whatever it is and like whittle it down to a high school level and think that it's gonna still translate the same. It just doesn't translate the same.
I agree with your comment that it doesn't translate the same, but I think as, world-class color guards or drum corps really kind of take the chance to perform more risque shows like the ones that we're talking about right now. I think maybe directors of smaller groups, they see the reactions, students see the reactions to those productions and see how well it was accepted. And they want to try to do their own version of that. So I think those older groups, or maybe with those maybe higher level designers, I think they should think about that, because I think they have a responsibility to the art form, because I think this is an art form. It allows students, both young and old, to express themselves in a visual way, in a musical way, right? And I think that should be kind of taken into effect maybe when these more advanced ensembles are creating these shows, because other people are watching them, especially younger high schools, maybe younger band directors, younger color guard instructors, and they may want to mimic that because they want that applause. They want that acceptance from their audience. So I think that's something that should be considered when designing these shows as well.
Absolutely. I just want to chime in real quick with this, because appropriate shows, as far as that one, and there was another one that actually happened. I can't remember the band's name, but it's at a show that I saw. And I didn't feel, of course, I'm judging what is on the field. I didn't feel it was appropriate for me to actually say, do you think this is appropriation? But I did hear later on, actually yesterday, that they changed that. So, and it was at the benefit of the show that they did. And it, ended up being a lot better. I think it comes from what to be for real honest. Like and I don't want to say common sense, because that's not it. But I think it comes from what and what you're expecting out of your performers and out of your musicians before you put something like that before them, and to, present it to basically the world, because it's your marching band circuit.
And it's going to live forever and everywhere, and it's going to be recorded, and it's going to be seen. And I don't know, I just don't feel like we as marching band people, we went to school for music or for, anything. We did. Most people do not have a trauma specialist on their marching band staff. And I think like, that's where it goes weird for me, is like you're dealing with adult ideas and themes with not adults, right? Drum corps
people have never experienced even that kind of trauma, so they can't even relate to it even.
Well, the plot of the show, it says, Jonathan, his article says the plot was simple enough. And he talked about how it was well performed by the members, by the way. Like 10 out of 10, they did their job, because we're talking about it and people are talking about it. If it was poorly performed, people are like, oh, what is this about? Like, we don't really know. The students nailed the performance, apparently. So he says the plot was simple enough. A primitive people moves from the irrational and emotive worship of an eclipse to giving up of its own body to human bloody sacrifice. And he goes on to ask, was it a glorification of human sacrifice and pagan religion? Or was it meant to paint religious people as basically Neanderthals whose religious favor inevitably leads to murder? And then he says, does a state-run school have any business promoting either message? So that's another thing. And then he talks about, in the article, where were the supervisors? Where was the superintendent? Where was the administrative, arts person? Where was the principal? Did they step in? I can say I've never been a high school band director. I have high school band director friends, college band directors, whatever. And they're almost never involved in our show design process. And I would like,
that's a really silly question.
Not once.
Not ever.
That's never a conversation, at least where I'm from.
Me neither.
Never.
It need to. So the fact that you have to ask the question, why weren't they involved, should immediately tell you, wasn't the right show. Like if there's if there's a suspicious thing, don't do it. You don't have to do those things. There's so many other things you could do. I mean, again, I'm not trying to like paint little high schoolers as like fragile little, eggshell people that are going to get broken at any single second. But do we have to do a sacrifice show? Do we have to do that? Or is there other things that we could explore and get a performance out of our students?
You're right. You're right. And a part of it is the activity in the arts have the people who have touched the third rail of the arts. There's a reason why in regards to politics, it's called the third rail. You're talking about your different issues, your political issues that there's a taboo that's not supposed to happen, and people stay away from them. But that's also where the power is. That's what the third rail is, where the power is. It's where when things happen, people talk about it. So if we go to the edge as designers and want our performers to go there, or they're pushing us, like our performers are like saying, we want to do something different than the 80s rock show, Mr. Bailey, or a show about clowns or whatever. We want to be more risky. We want people to talk about us. Like, what do you do as an instructor to have that conversation and to maybe give them a little bit more ownership of their program? Is this the direction that we're going?
Right. I feel like we know the outside of it. We don't know the inside of it unless that article does go into it, because maybe they did sit those kids down and say, listen, this is what we're doing. This is completely artistic value sake, I don't know how that went over in that area. Like, you know what I mean? Some of the stuff is regional. So I don't know how that went over in that area.
And I would even say like something like a sacrifice show, like while I don't think it's the best choice, it just brings up a bigger topic of like kind of really bad shows to choose from, like any sort of trauma. Like, I don't think we should be doing shows about suicide. I don't think we should be doing shows about abuse in any kind of way, right? Like, those things just aren't necessary. And I'm a positive person in a lot of ways. And I just think the marching band, when you go there, should be joyous and happy. And the kids shouldn't spend hours going into trauma and coming out of trauma. I think Ricardo was talking about this on one of the previous episodes about when he chose a show, and he's like, I'm a theater director, so I understand how to bring my students into that world. But then I'm bringing my students into that world 2 and 3 times a week at rehearsal, and then getting them out of it is like hard on me as the instructor, right? So like, you as the person teaching also have to realize you're going to go through this crazy. You've got to get yourself built up to that trauma place. And now you've got to put on your students so they can do it. Now, that's a lot. That's a lot.
That's a really good point. Yeah. I mean, it's like they have to put themselves into like a depression or like into a certain emotion multiple times a week. That's trauma itself. Having to put yourself through that.
That's what we talk about, right? Performing with authenticity, like that's what we want them to do.
Yeah.
Well, I guess, do we have any opinions? I guess I have one, and I'll share it. Just generally, I mean, because we could do it in concert band pieces, because no one seems to be upset when, like a composer writes a piece about, suicide or loss of a loved one or someone that's hurt, or, whatever theme can invoke, a lot of emotion, right? Or school shootings or whatever. Like, those are very pieces that kind of stick with you, you remember. Or those Winterguard shows that stick with you, you remember. What is an appropriate age to allow a student to go into that space? What if other schools around the country, more dramatic, schools with more access, teachers who have, taught students that students may want to go out into that field and be artists and be, emotional dancers or emotional theater people or emotional musicians, and they're able to flip that switch on and off. And if we don't give them that opportunity at whatever age, and they want to do this later on in life or in college, or they're going to be at a disadvantage because they weren't granted that opportunity maybe at a younger age to develop those skills, to be able to learn how to perform at these different levels, performing works that maybe we may consider more risque, but here we are.
I agree. Well, in saying and going in what you're saying, Trevor, I think it's a skill set thing. because a lot of times when the skill set is higher, the kids are a little bit more mature when it comes to subject.
Yeah.
That part.
You know, if I'm just teaching a kid how to do drop spins today, I'm not going to be like, so here's our show and here's everything that goes in with it, but don't forget your skill. You know what I mean? I'm only going to put heavier subject matter on top of a performer that can handle it.
Understood.
Right. But again, like, it's regional. I think
there's something to be said about, like you're saying, Trevor, exploring those things at those ages. But like you said, concert band, they're doing it in concert band. How many times are you performing that piece outside of rehearsal in front of an audience to where you have to really perform it? Like once, right? Like you're not going into all this trauma. So you want to do like a 1-act Colorguard show about trauma. That's a 1 minute and 30-second piece that you're going to perform on stage at your spring talent show because that's what you want to explore. Do that. I don't think we need to take the high school students, especially, you know, the 90% of the population in the world that's listening to this, into those spaces. If you're at WGI and you're top BOA, you are at a staff and you're functioning at a high level, you probably do have somebody on staff that can work through the trauma. But if you're like a local state school that's going to state championships and that's kind of what you're doing, I just don't think you need to do anything. Like, that's just me.
No, I got you. But I think we can all agree in the earlier point that the administrative principals, supervisors, we do not necessarily want their hands like in our kitchen. And when we're talking about creating,
that's what's going to happen.
Because we don't see them, or I can hear about the principal saying, hey, football coach, we got to run that ball more. We should run this play more. Or how can we take too many threes in the basketball game state championship? We ran the play that was called because we entrusted the coach, who was a professional, to give out the information, you know, and it's based off of execution of said plays. Now the show was designed and it sounds like those kids executed it. Now you can have a preference on like whether you liked it or not, or whether you thought it was appropriate or not, but the effectiveness of it was incredibly high because we're sitting here talking about how, you know, Mr. Rose and his students, you know, put that out there and we have people talking. So I just want to kind of, if we're going to wrap up here, Jeremy, on this, bravo to those students for being amazing artists and performers, for going out and completing the assignment that they had to complete. I'm sure it wasn't an easy job to do, like it never really is, but maybe with this topic, maybe it was a little bit more challenging, I would bet. But it seemed like they persevered through it and found the resolve to really give out a stellar performance. So I would like to say bravo to those students at Kelly Walsh School Marketing Grant. It was a great discussion. I think I love having discussions like this. I think I should have them often.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to take it to, like, because we're doing different states here with our news. I love it. We're going to take it to Texas. Okay. So you're all aware of, exactly. You're all aware of the UIL, you know, how that works out and down in Texas. Everything is governed by UIL. It's about your grades. So there's a school, a marching band, Flower Bluff, and I want to say Corpus Christi. And if I find a difference, I will make sure that I say something about that. But a band has to forfeit their area contest after a UIL violation. So I just have to tell you, first you go to region, or is it area then region? Well, there's area, region, and then state. You have to advance to the next one to keep going. Basically, with UIL, every 3 weeks they check on your grades, okay? And they don't really check on them. It's just that, you know, if you are within the parameters of being eligible and having passing grades, then you can do what you have to do. However, it's the whole no pass, no play policy. So students who don't receive a grade of 70 or who receive a grade of 70 or below in any class in order to represent their school or compete in any UIL competition, if they don't meet that, they're ineligible. So they can still practice, they can rehearse, but they don't have the opportunity to actually perform. So what happened at Pine Bluff is that Pine Bluff went on, they performed, and they performed at region. competition that was hosted on Saturday at Gregory Portland High School. And their show was called Harmony Unbound, scoring high enough to qualify them for area. So obviously it goes region area, and to the next level of competition. So what happened is the superintendent, Chris Steinbruck, announced in the news Thursday after the district staff was made aware of the UIL's eligibility policy standards. They were violated by this performance because there was a kid that was ineligible and they performed. So what happens after that is that they just forfeit the right to move on. So that was basically the end of their season. So I just want to know if y'all have any thoughts about this. I mean, I know that it's a great idea and everything. And I guess I'm a little like, because it's one of those things. When I was teaching in Texas, like I was on kids, because I knew that, like, especially now by the end of the season, like you have 3 weeks to get those grades up, even though you're rehearsing with the band and everything. Like, by the time your grades could be eligible, that's literally the show day, you know. And then there could be that instance that your grades don't come up. So then you have a whole big hole.
I would say this, and this is the Northeast boy coming out of me, having not taught in Texas or been able to I do make a full-time living at Colorguard now, but having to cobble it together. If you're in Texas and you have this many staff members that are paid to be there full-time, you should know what your students, I mean, I feel like that would be something that like would be my job on like Monday morning or Tuesday morning or Thursday, you know, like I'm going that stuff and going, am I going to have all my kids this weekend to be able to perform this? Like, have they done their due diligence to make sure, because I need to be doing that. Like, that feels like it's my responsibility as a full-time employee. If I'm a part-timer, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not dipping into grades or stuff, but like, they're full-time employees. Like, they give grades. Like, I assume that that's stuff that they have, you know, can get a hold of or whatever. So like, I don't know. I mean, those are the rules. And if you're going to play by them, you live and die by them. So you know, that is what it is. But like, I don't know.
Well, my biggest thing about all of this is like, bad grades are not a surprise. It's not unexpected. So if you know that, if you know the kid, if you know that you're traveling down a path that is not a good grade, me as a teacher looking at your grades, I know that you're traveling down a path that is not good. Like, I'm going to be on you like 2 weeks before they come out. Like, what are you doing? Do you need to stay after with this teacher? I'm okay with you going and missing like 30 minutes, 45 minutes of rehearsal so you can get your grades up. I don't know. It doesn't make that much sense to me that, you know, this was but it did seem like it was an oversight as far as the article went on saying, like, this is an oversight and, you know, being more diligent, you know, in the years to come to make sure that, you know, this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, it seems like it was a one-time oopsie kind of thing. But like up in the Northeast, like Jeremy was saying, I mean, personally, I almost feel like we almost don't have to worry about kids' grades. I mean, there's no requirement, I think, really. I mean, if they're failing like everything, then yeah, you probably shouldn't be in band. But like, we don't ever have to worry about their grades because the kids that are in marching band here are the kids that are doing well academically, and like, we don't have to worry about their time management skills or how they're going to make up their grades because they know how to do that. Like, they have it taken care of.
Yeah, that's generally, that's how I feel about it too. Like, it's usually the good kids anyway. And I don't know. The Texas thing, I've just not ever been a part of, so I don't really have the insides of that. But yeah,
same.
It was new for me coming up and everything too. But I just looking in on it, because like, I feel like there's a different feel to it because it's a class, you know, and once they find out, at least in the band, like going to band class or going to Colorguard class, they take a look at that and they're just like, oh, if I'm not, you know, getting an A or something like that, then I'm in trouble. And, you know, there is something different about that. However, you know, like teaching in the Northeast or the East Coast, I do believe that like we take a look and see those things like, why are you failing? Well, do you think it's right that you should be doing marching band and you're not passing your classes?
Right.
You know, let's get on this. Let's be on top of it.
Yeah. Well, and I don't even have access like to the kids' grades because I'm not paid by the school district. So it's not even something that I can have access to or look at.
So I feel like if you were on the East Coast and that happened and you've got a guard, like your band director is going to be the one to tell you like, hey, so-and-so's not passing. They can't come to the show. And like, you have to think quick on your feet as a Colorguard instructor to be like,
no alternates here.
Yeah. What do we do? But just to go a little bit more into this, at UIL region marching band competitions, a panel of judges assigns a score of 1 to 5 for each school's performance. A superior performance corresponds with the score of 1, and then a score of 5 indicates a poor performance. Bands who earn a 1 at region advance to area. At the recent Region 14 contest, so it was Alice High School, Gregory Portland High School, which was where it was performed, where the show was. Victoria East High School, Victoria West High School, and Corpus Christi King High School, and Veterans Memorial High School all earned 1s. All bands who competed at this contest earned at least a 2 this year. So all the performances were really good. I mean, I think the bright side to this is that they had a great performance and that they could end the season on this note. But like, I guess it's the whole coulda, woulda, shoulda, not really knowing what more you could have done if, this was taken care of.
Yeah, I just feel, if I may, I just feel a little bit heartbroken for this one particular student. I don't know who they are, but I imagine that their peers and the directors know. And I just can imagine like that heartbreak, especially like we can probably all guess as educated people, this is probably a clerical error. It's not like this high school was going out. It's like, we have 10 ineligible players and spins. We're going to put them on the field. And it was revealed in this massive scandal. No, this is not what it was. And I could just imagine that how tough it was for these individuals to put in this hard work and to possibly have like an oopsie, like we talked about, kind of just pop up. And these things happen. It could have been a late, eligibility thing that someone didn't get the email and verify a grade, or maybe there was some assumptions made that it was really close and, we're going to go ahead and roll the dice, whatever it was. But
yeah,
ultimately they, like I said, in regards to good performances, that this school, obviously performed their tails off and got their deserved rating. And it's just unfortunate they weren't able to advance because of this administrative guideline that's put. Like you said, Jeremy, everyone signed up for it, so you have to kind of go by it. So
my biggest thing about all of this too, and sorry to interrupt you, Trevor, but like there are so many rules with UIL. Like it's not just this, like 8 hours a week. Yeah, 8 hours a week. That's all you got. And I know that some, like you said, that scandal. My goodness, like don't touch the schedule of 8 hours a week, because that's a scandal. That is a scandal. And so, like, there's just a lot that goes into it. And yes, I think that something like this, like you said, Trevor, an oversight, it's bound to happen with as many rules there are. But yeah, I do feel bad for that one student. And I think it's a double-edged sword. I feel bad for that student, but also I'm happy that they went out and did the job that they had to do to get the rating that they got and end on a high note, at least. All right, let's get to another story.
I think mine is next. I have the Music and Arts is partnering with Pearl to give away some marching band equipment, concert band, and winds instruments and percussion instruments. $50,000 in free equipment to upgrade your band room.
Okay.
The applications are due by Halloween. So by the time that this goes out, I think it will be over. I actually we were going over the news of like who's getting which article. I texted my dad this real quick. I was like, hey, you should apply for this. Because he applied for the Ravens marching band, which we've had a couple people from there on the podcast before. they had like some giveaways of their past used instruments, like drums, horns, I don't know, like a whole bunch of stuff. And we actually ended up getting a sousaphone and 4 trumpets. So
awesome.
Really exciting.
Awesome.
So yeah, getting $50,000 worth of instruments, that's a whole thing. That's like a whole new set of everything.
But imagine the Colorguards actually getting anything.
Hey, just the $50,000 is nothing to sneeze at in today's economy. And
yeah,
with school districts, maybe not fully supporting the arts program, $50,000 is a lot of money. Let's not kid ourselves. So bravo and to Music and Arts for putting this campaign together, and the Pearl, and bravo to these corporations for really trying to make things better. We encourage here on the Water Break for more votes to do that. We want more companies, more businesses to partner up to donate more money to these students who are working really hard, who may not have top quality equipment, who may need that equipment to put on that stellar performance, that thought-provoking performance that we've been talking about. And so, yeah, bravo to them. As a band director, man, like $50,000 can really enhance a program pretty quickly. With new Colorguard equipment, with new instruments, percussion equipment, whatever it is. And those performers will take care of that equipment if the community goes out and supports them in the way that the Music and Arts and Pearl has in this case. So,
yeah, really, really great opportunity for any high schools to get out there. But hey, Music and Arts, if you're listening, projects in high schools, send it our way.
Oh, stop.
Well, I do want to talk to you about here in my area. And when I say area, I mean Ohio. And there's actually, it's in Colorguard.
Homecoming.
So if you look at all the marching band members, they look younger and younger every year. So you just see them all with their uniforms on.
It was crazy.
They're with their uniforms on, and things don't quite fit because they're just bigger. And they're, whatever instrument they're holding just looks like, well, maybe they'll grow into it. Or their drum,
even know there was
maybe it's just a little too heavy. It's okay. They'll grow into it. So what's happening right now, the Colgrove Hornets game, was happening. The music prodigy, his name's Griffin Lackey, a 4th grader
member
at Dawson Bryant Elementary. Basically, he's a standout percussionist for the marching band, for the varsity marching band on Friday nights. He says he can play multiple instruments, including the bagpipes. On the field. Okay. His band director is Karen Jarvis. This is her first year in this role. And she says that she's delighted to inherit a 9-year-old who vowed the precious teacher or the precious director with his ability to be beyond his years. Basically, he's just a drumming prodigy. And it's so cool to, I can only imagine the snare line, here's everyone. Boom.
And then performed it on Saturday. It was
I'm thinking about my child, who is 8 years old.
Just be a member.
Very well put together, very musical, very smart, very all of those things.
Try and produce it or try.
Playing snare drum in the marching band next year, I don't think he's getting
be a member and enjoy.
That's insane.
That's what I did, and it was a great time.
Well, let's see. A lot of people or his parents, he was just started coming home.
You did college, man. Go back and
coming home after rehearsal, and he was showing interest. And the previous director was blown away by the skill level.
Them we're coming back
and asked, why don't you come and hang out with us on Friday nights? Not exactly come and do the marching band.
That's the goal the next 5 years.
This kid is already saying band is my life. Oh, I like it.
It could very easily happen.
Dude, so, you're in.
Excited
on social media, TikTok, that are the little drum majors for the Ohio State. I think we sent that around in the group chat. Or the little girl that's standing on the side of the parade and marching and all of that. That's insane.
Oh, and he just, this is a quote from him. He says, the band director says, to have a little guy like Griffin come out and find his joy and passion in music, it makes me super proud and happy. And then that's really
it's adorable.
This is so cool that that Griffin, the superstar Griffin, gets this opportunity to perform, and that I bet the crowd just eats it up, Nicole.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they eat it up in the stands. I'm getting vibes of there was a center snare player at Blue Devils who like started when he was 14. Am I wrong? Am I right?
No, you're right. I remember
Right, yeah.
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. If the shoe is fitting. Just to say.
Here's the perfect example. The twirlers of the world, if Ashlee can speak to this, the younger you start, obviously, the better you're going to be. Like, they start those twirlers at
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean?
Out of the womb. You come out, they're like, okay, here's your little baby baton.
Griffin did add at the end of this article that next week for Trick or Treat, he's going to be dressing up as the founder of the state of Georgia, James Oglethorpe.
Of course he is.
That.
I think that we are going to just go ahead and take a break right now, and we'll be right back.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
All right, it is time for What Are We Doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing?
All right, so who are we starting with first? Ashlee, since you just looked. Yeah.
Oh,
What are we doing?
what are we doing? Man, I don't know. You might have to come back to me. I can't think of one right now, which is rare. That's rare that I don't have something to complain about.
That's all right. I'm just glad that you're here for the whole episode this time.
Yes.
What are we doing with Ashlee on the whole episode? That's my question.
We don't know. She don't know.
I know. We haven't even gotten this far before for me to even think about it.
She doesn't get to usually do What Are We Doing? Her internet's done copped out by this point. Well, I will start. Because we're coming off of having this, college band discussion or whatever. And I will say, like I said from the beginning, what are we doing, not doing alumni band if you went to a college or university and did the marching band there? Like, if you are not doing alumni band at your school at homecoming, you're missing out. Because first off, Trevor, Ashlee, you all know, as I do, Nicole missed out on this because she did not do college band. College marching band is the best thing in the entire marching arts, period, full stop. You're never going to convince me of anything else otherwise, right? I am the most competitive person. I love going to WGI. I love watching DCI. I love all of that stuff. But in terms of actual enjoyment of the thing that you are doing, there is nothing better than college marching band. And you can't say anyway, if you haven't done it, but then to come back and do it as an alumni, oh my gosh. It is I have to say, it is literally the best thing because first off, you're treated like a rock star the whole time, right? You are it. It doesn't every band member is all about you. Every staff member is all about you. There were three of the the current and the two former marching band directors at Westchester there, for the whole weekend. They come up to you that, their job is to make you feel like a rock star. And you get minimal rehearsal. You get to hang out with your peeps. Most of the time you're tailgating and or going to another social and or rehearsing while having just tailgated, whatever the case may be, you're fully like having the best time. I mean, it's family oriented, like bring your kids, like they have bounce houses, it's just like a whole, and it happens on like a lovely fall day. So what are we doing, not doing alumni college band, especially if you were in that?
Absolutely. Whoops. Got the sound effects. I just want to add quickly to your what are we doing, Jeremy. So, I mean, if you don't have that established, create alumni association for your band, alumni band meeting group,
and it's going to live
like
and
people from different generations.
It's going to be recorded, and it's going to be
really invest in it.
I don't know. I just don't feel like
college band as university. And the director of bands or the director of athletic bands, and
anything.
The performers, the current members
do not
really want to meet
specialists.
Those folks. They stand on the shoulders of giants, as often said, that they're building that legacy. They want to see you. They want to engage.
You're dealing with adult.
If you're not out there,
ideas and themes,
engaging with them, and doing your part of telling them about the traditions or reliving the glory days and telling those old stories, then they're going to forget those moments, and they're going to forget the history of the band program that they're a part of. So that was my little part to the ad. That was a really good.
It's true. It's exactly what it was. I mean, they wanted us there. We each got a buddy. I mean, we had 55 Colorguard alumni and 46 members of the Colorguard. So like we were more than the actual Colorguard, which was cool. And we were on the field and we performed, and we rehearsed with them and the whole thing. And they're like thrilled. They're like standing, you know what I mean? Like I'm having a conversation with a girl who just graduated high school. This is her freshman year at Westchester. She went to a local high school. I also teach a university band. So I'm having conversation. Oh, Rebecca, she's in my band that I teach. And she's like, oh my God, you're teaching my friend. Like it just was, and you're standing next to me and I'm, like we're spinning together. Like it was like mind blowing for her. And she just like had the most, like the biggest smile on her face the entire time we were interacting. It was like just wonderful. Like she was just like, and all of them around us, like all the undergrads that were around us were just like,
and you got a t-shirt.
Yeah,
and I got a t-shirt.
I have one more funny anecdote to your comment, Jeremy. So I had my family, my brother, my sister-in-law, my two nephews in town yesterday, and they came to all the band alumni events, so the honorary NSU.
That's a really silly question.
And someone who used to be in my euphonium section, named Josh. Hey, Josh Ritz. He was at the event, and I was his baritone section leader. Comes to find out, Josh Ritz and my sister Liz,
why we're
Liz, are from the same hometown here.
What's the right show?
Small rural town called Church Point, Louisiana. And Josh's mother was the English teacher of my sister-in-law.
There's so many other.
They realized that at the event, randomly talking to each other.
I'm trying to
actually, my sister-in-law walked into this alumni social, and Josh yells out, "Well, hello, Liz!" After 25 years of not seeing her. And
to do a sacrifice.
So I'm like, wait a minute, what? How do y'all know each other?
Or is there other we could explore and get them?
They had no other connection, to the band besides me. I thought that was pretty cool. You never know. It's a small world out there.
It is. Yeah. Trevor, you just go right on ahead.
What are we doing? I'm staying on college bands. What are we doing with putting out 3 or 4 or 5 halftime shows a year?
Is that too little or too much?
I think is it too much? I've been having a conversation with some designers out there, students from around my region, directors. What if college bands just did one college band show a year and that was the norm? Could audience members handle it? A more thought out, a more produced one show similar to maybe a JSU or Western Carolina, or help me out. Who else does it? Who else does it?
Delaware does it.
Yeah, Delaware. Good. One that was the norm, because We'll give our audience some things to, a longer process to maybe link themselves to. Maybe we can use more musical material, more thoughtful ideas instead of maybe just a 30-second hit of like a hook of a song. Maybe we can, maybe it'll be a longer arrangement. In regards to our music education students who probably go on to be marching band directors, how many shows are they going to teach at the high school level during the season?
Well, I would even say something like
it's always a small while time. It's always that. I mean, we know where it
just
comes
bring
from,
right your topic up,
because
like
the
bad bands to choose from, like any sort of time. Like I don't think we should be doing shows about suicide. I don't think we should be doing shows about
and the school itself, be a school
in any kind of way, right? Like those things are so necessary.
I'm a vague proponent.
I don't
of.
I'm
it doesn't even have to say one show
in a lot of ways,
but
I just
one idea, and maybe the idea develops over the season. Like, for example, I teach Widener University.
Hours to try.
They're a small school,
about this. I don't know the previous
14,000, something like
when
that.
he chose the
very
show.
small. The band is like 100, which is really great.
Bring students to that world. But then I bring
time to develop a show
3 times a
that is crowd,
and then
that is the number
out
one.
of it is
it has to be crowd
Z as your instructor, right?
So I don't want to buy
you as the person
the idea of
the realize
college band.
You're going to go
get into the
this
discussion
phase. You really get yourself built up.
Why are they doing a show about blood?
Now
why are they doing a show about one show is fine, but I think it needs to have that sort of expansiveness to it in terms of audience appeal. Now, the thing that we do at Widener, which I think is just like phenomenal, is we do have this idea, this theme or whatever, sort of generic, like this year's Vinyl at Heart. So it's anything, sort of associated with records and CDs. And I go into this journey of
performing with authenticity,
records
like
that's if you want them to tease, so it's like a whole thing. But it gives us an open door to kind of do whatever we want with it, right? So we on productions, 1.5 minutes long, 1.5 to 2 minutes at the most, like production numbers. Now, we could technically interchange those and move those around first, second, third, whatever, because within there, we have transitions that kind of are chaos in a way to like get you to the start of the next song. We also add in layers throughout the season, right? Like we have a Pride Pack dance team that we add into our show in the third song. Like they're not coming out in the first song, they're not coming out in the second song, but by homecoming week or whatever, that we're finally ready to do 3 numbers, because the first couple of weeks we just did 1 or we just did 2 or we did 1 in the fight song or we did 1 and a standstill or something like that. We build up to it. We're building up to a 4-number show essentially, right? Like you're building up to the typical 4 songs for a marching band, but it's taking its time. It doesn't need to feel rushed. Like that's the beauty of college band. You present 2 songs and they're killer and the audience is watching it. Yeah, it's over. We're not telling a story. I don't need to get to the closer, right? Like that's what I would worry about when we would talk about taking one show, like one idea and doing it as like a through line of a show for a college band, is then like, what if you never get to the closer? Because you know what I mean? Like there's just that idea, right? I mean, like North Carolina was dealing with hurricanes and Florida, whatever, like rehearsal could be gone instantly. You lose. It's a rainy week at your school and you only get to rehearse 3 hours a week because of, whatever. Like you don't get to rehearse that week. You're inside. You're not learning that next song. So that's where, for me, the college band thing, I think needs to be almost more modular, I guess, in its thing. But I like the idea of like one solid thought. I also do love like a Mizzou or whoever, like doing all these crazy like shows that they have to immediately turn around. I don't know. It's kind of fun in that way too. So
yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, I love the explanation.
I was thinking about the other way about it because for a very short stint, I did help with University of Dayton's marching band, and like I had to give a couple of different things because they had like
4 different shows in the 1 week that I was there that they were putting together. Not a lot of sets, but it's just like, okay, we had to, as far as the color guard's concerned, it's just like, okay, I did divide it up amongst the members and say, okay, we're going to name this, and we're going to add it into this. And you have to start from here. You know what I mean? You come with ways to like kind of Lego the stuff together. But as far as when they're performing all these things, like they don't have to just think about like the football team. They have to think about alumni and what alumni wants to see. Like those pre-games that they do, they spend more time, well, at least when I witnessed, spending more time on the pre-show
than anything, or pre-game than anything.
Pre-game.
Yeah.
It's becoming a big deal. I don't think it was going to have a big deal. I think it's starting to become a big deal. You see more and more college bands having a pre-game show. At Widener, we have a pre-game show that we did for 4 years, I think, like the same 2 songs or whatever. And so I think that's kind of the goal, is every like 3 or 4 years. I think the goal is now every 3 years, we change our pregame so that as a person in the band, like you will always get to do 2 different shows in terms of pregame. But then also like you're coming back the next year and like pregame's done. And, you know, in some instances, like this year was a new pregame for us, and we'll keep this pregame, like I said, for like 2 more years. So next year going into the fall marching band, we don't have to do a lot of pregame learning. We just have to learn the show, right? This year we had to do pregame. So it's always going to be a balance. But yeah, the pregame thing is when you're telling everybody, all right, sit down. It's all about the start. There's a lot of people in the stand. So there's usually like a lot of energy around it. And in our pregame involves the band, the color guard, the pride pack where the dancers, the cheerleaders come out, like, you know, the mascots are involved. So it's like, it's a pregame. Like it's all of those things. So I love the pregame, actually.
Yeah. Our pregame is more of like a traditional, like we play, like one of our fight songs. We play Delaware Forever going across the field, like 8 to 5 in blocks. And then we play the alma mater in the end zone, the national anthem, come back and do the fight song and end in like the interlocking UD. Like it's very traditional. I don't even remember the last time that they have changed it, because it's just been the same for so long. And I feel like that's how a lot of schools do it sometimes. I mean, I guess it depends where they are, but it's like,
I think I think that sort of is like, you get more locked into those traditions at Big Ten schools, than you do in some of the smaller universities and whatever. I think there's a little bit more freedom there. Like those alumni at those Big Ten schools and things like that, like they're like, you're going to play the fight song, like you're going to do that.
Yeah. Well, and that's fine, but we have people that have been complaining that we're not high stepping.
Oh, no.
I'm like,
I would high step. I would put high step in my band, but at some point they would ask me to demonstrate. And the way that my hips are working right now and my age, great. These hips don't lie. Except when you ask me to high step. So what made Trevor say my hips don't lie? There you go.
With the soundbite, there it is.
There it is.
Ashlee, do you have what are we doing?
Yeah, I think I've saw enough one now. I'm going back to I call them the twirlers. I call them twirly whirlies. But what are we doing? Sticking the twirlers in the end zone and just like, go do your thing. Okay, bye. I really can't stand that. I mean, being at Delaware, the twirlers are like fully integrated in the show, just like the color guard would be.
And beautiful and amazing and expressive.
Yeah. And we
still the phenomenal.
Thanks. They still like do like their choreography to the music. It's not just like, okay, go out there and do your solo, which would be like your inside competitive routine that wouldn't have anything to do with the music at all. That's a whole separate issue. What are we doing twirling to music that isn't musical? Like the routine doesn't match. But yeah.
Okay.
I can go on and on about that one.
But Ashlee is right. Ashlee is right, especially, and I'm glad she's a part of this conversation to talk about college band, is because twirling is a big thing in college bands. Like, there's usually a feature. I have a feature twirler at Widener, and there's, we're a small band. I have a feature twirler. And if you're not using your twirlers, especially a feature twirler, in the right way in your show, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Yeah.
Because they can create some effect. Like, when you're talking about like a moment where the band is going to play loud and you want that saber toss, like, that's going to catch and nail it. No, give it to the feature twirler who's going to give you like a high 3 illusion, turn around 3 spin, do a cartwheel, and then catch it backhand and keep going. Like, please, those sabers and those rifles and the rest of the color guard ain't nothing on these twirlers. So much more impactful, so much more effective. But then if you got them out there in the end zone, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like it's just really sad. Makes me sad.
Well, all right. I guess it's my turn. I do not have something that pertains to college band. Wow. Do I have? Maybe. I don't know. What are we doing? Maybe. Y'all.
What are you doing not teaching a college band? How about
that? I don't know. What was I doing not doing college band? I was doing drum corps and indoor winter guard. Yeah, we're done.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
Let me start with the gush and goes, though, because I'm excited. And this is my first free weekend from doing band. And I did not know how much I needed it until it happened. So there's that. I have 2 more shows left, but I still have like another weekend to, rejuvenate and get excited about it. All right. So gush and go. Trevor.
Yeah, I just want to gush and go first about Nicole's sound effects, the different sound effects in that last topic. That was really awesome. And I also want to gush and go about we're coming to the end of Bandtober. So I just wanted to give good vibes, good thoughts, good energies out to those high school bands going into their final competitions, their final performances, their final exhibitions, and really, really get after it, and just realize that you will never perform this show with these individuals again. So every rehearsal opportunity you have, every practice session, every performance, take advantage of it and think about creating a moment that's going to last forever. So it's a special time in your lives. You had a staff and directors who've worked really hard to put together the show for you. You've worked very hard and putting it out there and executing each and every week. Now it's time to celebrate all those great things and celebrate your excellence. So I just want to gush and go about those performers and directors and staff members who've been working really hard all year. Bravo.
All right. Ashlee.
My gush and go. I always have trouble picking like one or the other of like if I'm going to talk about my high school group or Delaware, because they're both just so good this season. Like both of the new directors are just like a dream to work with. So that's lovely. I think I'm going to talk about my high schoolers though. The amount that they have improved like over the past year is just like totally mind-blowing to me. So we did indoor last year. Yes, they deserve it. We did indoor last year for the first time ever. And the work that they put in during indoor is totally paying off right now. I was like, I don't know that this is going to like do anything. I mean, the equipment's in their hands, but I don't know. It's totally making a difference.
I say that so much, like even like when I'm talking to like guards when I'm on a tape, and I'm just like, and when I find out if they don't have a winter guard, I'm just like, even if you put out a small winter guard, like that is going to help your program immensely. Like the band.
That's what Ashlee did. It was a small little thing. They did a couple little shows. It was not a big deal.
Real cutesy.
Mhm. They just need to be doing it, It's
Yeah.
how the band has, concert band time. They're still playing,
Yeah.
so the garden needs to keep spinning. So
Yeah.
kudos to you for keeping them
Their
going.
dance skills, their like spinning skills is just so much better because of it.
And Ashlee deserves a lot of credit. And I think that her and her family, especially with this high school, it's where I went to high school. And now they're like, just in it, running the whole program pretty much, and have really taken, our high school into a really great place, sometimes kicking and screaming. Sometimes the Amos family has dragged that marching band kicking and screaming into the modern world. Now they're there. And it's like really like starting to be a thing. And it's so cool as an alumni, as we're talking about it, as an alumni, to see, first off, my family, but like, everybody else is like so like involved and happy and excited to like be a part of that.
Yeah. And I have to gush and go one quick thing. I have a 7th grader in my guard right now, and she's danced like, I guess, throughout elementary school and middle school. I have to gush and go about her. Her name's Emily. She is amazing. She starts out the show with like a dance solo, and I'm like, can you just do this? Can you do this? And she's like, yep, got it. And then just does it perfectly. I'm like 20 of you.
Nice. Jeremy, what are you gushing and going about?
Well, I will continue to gush and go about college band. I will continue to gush and go about the time I had at homecoming yesterday. I just love every bit about it. Every year that I'm teaching and being a part of college band, it just gets more and more fun and exciting. And, we have an indoor. This will be the 2nd year of Widener's indoor coming out this year. With that, it's a college, and I say this. Yes, Nicole, high school band, start indoor Colorguard in the winter. But side note, college bands, do an indoor Colorguard or an indoor drumline on your campus. Because to gush and go about that for a second, the indoor process, having an indoor Colorguard at a college or university, I've taught independence for a really long time. I've taught scholastics for a really long time. Teaching independence is always hard. It's hard for one reason only: rehearsal facilities. And you are talking about a college band where all of the people are on campus. They're on campus. You don't even have to rehearse only on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays because they're on campus. We could have a dance class at 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday in the dance studio in front of the mirrors. And guess what? We're going to be exponentially better. But it's 2:00 in the afternoon on a Tuesday. There's just many better ways, I think, to do independent Colorguard from the university perspective that, especially the universities themselves, they're so into it. They're like, you're going out into the community. If you think about it, we're the one activity, the marching band, the Colorguard, the drumline of a college that goes into community and performs to bring members into it. That volleyball team is not doing that. That volleyball team is not doing that. The basketball team is not doing that. The basketball team is going to another college to compete against another college basketball team. And who is in the audience? The parents, the other players, maybe some alumni. There's not the high school kids going to the local college basketball game to watch it. But the college bands are going to the kids performing at local high school shows, performing in parades, whatever, to bring them in. And the college color guards it's the perfect recruiting tool. It's literally the best. You go to a marching or an indoor color guard show, you say, hey, high school A, B, and C, you have to help us get on the floor. I'm going to buddy you up with every single person that is in the color guard. They're going to talk to you about Widener, and you're going to get to come there because you think it's so cool that you now met somebody. And I'm bringing in more people. I gained 3 members this year. My color guard was 6 last year in the winter from Widener. I had 3 additional who all came because they saw the indoor color guard. And they were like, well, we're just going to go to school here because that'll be easy. And I get to do color guard. And at Widener, they pay.
But imagine Imagine the Colorguards.
You get a scholarship to do marching band and indoor. You get $1,250 to do marching band and $1,250 to do indoor. Could you imagine getting paid $1,250 to do Colorguard inside?
I am.
Oh, I feel like Cuba Gooding Jr. right now. Show me the money.
Yes. And they give it to you. The college will give it to you. Like, he will give it to you. Start a program at your college or university. Like, do it.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, from Jeremy Whitehead.
And Northwestern State University gives out scholarships as well. Go to Wagner, go to Northwestern State. Let's go.
Delaware, they all do.
Go to Delaware.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to thank everyone for a great rehearsal. Special thanks to our hosts, Trevor, Ashlee, and Jeremy. And thank you to the other guest clinicians. But one more thing, just don't forget that we have our YouTube channel now, and that has many of our interviews coming out as full video edition. So go and subscribe so you don't miss any of those. And before you close out of your podcast listening app, go subscribe, write us a review, and share it with a friend. So follow us on social media at onawaterbreak.com. Sorry, at onawaterbreak, no .com. And we'll see you at the next rehearsal on a water break.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.